In a previous video, I used the cabinet that you see here on the top to demonstrate how to install a wardrobe lock where you can lock both the top and the bottom of the door with one lock. Here's what I did. Here's the door. And I installed this wardrobe lock on it. And that was the cabinet. It was a vertical cabinet. Now in this video, I'm going to make a horizontal cabinet out of it, where you can see the application of this wardrobe lock in a horizontal position. But primarily what this video is going to be about is how to use the Aventos HK-XS lift mechanism. And I wonder if it'll lift all of this weight with the handle and the wardrobe lock. But I think it will. So a couple of things I want to bring out right here at the beginning. In the publication, in Blum's publication, they have a couple of things that I think are important to mention. In this cabinet, for the lift-up mechanism that we're going to have, we have to take into consideration the height of the cabinet. And so it's about 10 inches to 24 inches. You could have it that big. Ours is about 12 inches from here to here. And then you can go quite wide, all the way up to 48 inches. Ours is only like 31 or 32 wide. So, so I take the height and the width into consideration, how many hinges I'm going to use and how many of the lift mechanisms I'll use. But I also need to know the weight of the door, because the weight of the door is going to tell me the power factor. And that helps me decide which strength of lift mechanism I need for this project. We're going to start out with, as I said, prepping the door. And installing the hinges, we have to drill the hole for the hinge cup and the screws when we put in our European style hinge. They fit like this. And where do you drill the hole? That's the question. In this application, I'm using a straight arm hinge, and I'm drilling from the edge of the door to the edge of the hole 5 millimeters. So I'm going to end up with a 16 millimeter overlay at the top of the cabinet, or 5/8 of an inch. I usually measure in 4 inches from the end like this. You can do whatever you want on that distance from the edge of the door, from the bottom or top of the door. You do whatever you want there for that. So I'm only putting on 2 hinges. I did have 3. I got it covered up here so it doesn't confuse things. And I'm going to put the 2 hinges on and then attach it to my horizontal cabinet here with the lift mechanism. In this portion of the video, we're going to attach the mounting plate here. This one, there's 2 available. This style that you see here, that's one of the mounting plates that goes on the cabinet. And then you attach your lift mechanism to the stud on that mounting plate. And this is the other style of mounting plate that goes on your cabinet to hold the lift mechanism. So to start with, let's just take a look at this mounting plate. And I want to install it first before we start talking about it. One thing that'll always happen is that when you look at it, you'll notice right there, there's a little dot there. That's where the stud of this mounting plate will be, whether you use this one or this one. So let's start with our mounting this plate and talk about it. Our mounting plate is attached. How did I know the location? Well, in the publication there is a little formula because you have to take into consideration the type of hinge you're using. And in this application, I'm using a straight arm hinge. And you also have to take into consideration the mounting plate. And in this application, I'm using a 0 mounting plate. So the formula tells me that I have to go down 137 millimeters plus the mounting plate and the hinge. My mounting plate is a 0, my hinge is a 0. So I get to go down 137 millimeters to locate that mounting plate, and then back into the cabinet 37 millimeters. That's where I mount this mounting plate for the lift mechanism. So I had to take into consideration the 137 millimeters plus whatever the geometry of the hinge was, and I had zeros for the hinge and the mounting plate. Now it could happen that your application requires what they call a half crank hinge. If you end up using a hinge like this, now you're going to have 137 millimeters plus 9.5 plus 0 for the mounting plate. So you do have to consider your hinge and your mounting plate when you drill and mount the plate to attach the lift mechanism. This lift mechanism works great for inset cabinets or overlay cabinets. You can use this, also use this plate for face frame, but you have to block out behind the face frame. So, as I said, it's not my favorite. My favorite is to use this one. Let's take a look at that mounting plate to see how it installs. So first we'll take the other plate, this plate off, and attach the other one. Now we're going to attach this mounting plate. Here again, when I'm done mounting this mounting plate, the stud will be in the same location on here that it was for the other mounting plate. So now, different mounting plate. This is the one they say is for face frames, and it works great on face frame because your screw location is way up here in the front, so it can attach to the edge of the face frame. But I like to use it also on frameless cabinets. I like it because the stud gets located exactly where you want it without having to measure 37 millimeters back and using this other style of plate. So this is my favorite, but as I said, you can't use it on inset. Now you can mount the bracket to this mounting plate pretty fine. So what are the measurements? They're different. If you use this mounting plate, then you're 169 millimeters from here to the first hole, plus hinge considerations. So in my case, I have a 0 plate and a 0 hinge, so I don't have to worry about it. But if you're using a 3 millimeter plate, so now you would have 169 plus 3. If you're using a half crank hinge like this, then it's 169 plus 9.5. So the hinge considerations and the number. I want to point out that in the drawings, these will be shown with frameless cabinets only. And these will only be shown with face frame cabinets. It doesn't matter. You can use either one. The calculation, the 169, works with this plate, and the 137 works with this plate. Now let's take a look. Does it actually work? Here's our lift mechanism. I'll pop that onto the stud here, there, and then I clip it to the door. There's an adjustment that needs to be made. This lift mechanism can be adjusted from a 0 to a 6. So let's go to a 3 on our adjustment scale and see what we get. There's 3 on the scale. It held. We're only using one lift mechanism, and it worked out just fine. Now let's try the other plate. We got by with one. Let's see the other one. Door's attached. Now let's do the mechanism. The lift mechanism is adjusted to a 3. Could you put it up a hair more? We have been talking about the mounting plates that attach here to the cabinet, and then your lift mechanism attaches to that. Now we're going to switch. We're going to talk about the mounting plate here, the one that attaches to the door. There are two mounting plates, two types that are used to attach to the door when using the HK-XS lift mechanism. So let's talk about them. There are two mounting plates. This is the very simple one, and it can be used in most applications for most doors. This is what I would call a slab door. It can be used on that type of door. And in fact, both mounting plates can be used on a slab door. It doesn't matter. Now, let's just say that you have a raised panel door or a shaker door, a 5-panel door where there's a frame around the door and a panel in the middle. With this mounting plate, if you're using doors that have a frame around them and you have a large overlay on the cabinet, it might interfere with your door and crack that frame. So if you're going to do doors that have frames around them, you have to be careful about using this one and not have an overlay that's larger than, say, 1/2 inch or 5/8. That's this plate. And now the other plate that we could use is this plate. Now this plate, it can be used in a slab door like this, no problem. It'll work just fine. But it's designed to help you get out of a pinch when you have a raised panel door, as I said before, with a frame around it. And it's a large overlay. This helps us to prevent damage to the door. So that's the application for this mounting plate. Let's take a look at the applying of the basic mounting plate. Let's look at that first. In this segment of the video, we're going to determine where to locate the holes for the mounting plate that the lift mechanism attaches to. So according to the manufacturer's literature, first of all, we're starting from the top of the door on the inside. The literature says that we have to have 126 plus the overlay, plus the hinge crank. In our case, we have a straight arm hinge, so that's nothing, and the thickness of the plate, and our plate is a 0. So we have 126 plus 16, and that gives us a 142 millimeter from here to here for the first hole, and then another 32 millimeters for this one. That's the location for this mounting plate, up and down. Now what's the location from the side of the door to the center of the hole? 15.5 plus the overlay. So it's not 32, it's 31.5 millimeters from here to the center of this hole. In this application, we're looking at a 5-piece door. This is a raised panel door. And we're assuming that it has a large overlay of 1.25 inches. That's represented by this line. 1.25 inch overlay on your cabinet. So the directions for getting your distance from this edge to the center of the hole here is 15.5 plus the 1.25" overlay, which is 32 millimeters, so we have 47.5 millimeters. 47.5. 47.5. So 15.5 plus our overlay, which is 32 millimeters, we're at 47.5, and look where your mounting plate sits, right there. And when you put the screw in, the tendency would be to crack this piece. And so this plate is not practical for 5-piece doors with a large overlay. Now let's take a look at how this mounting plate helps us when we have large overlay on a 5-piece door, like a raised panel door or a shaker door. The formula is the same. It's 15.5 plus the overlay of 32, which is 47.5, but then the instructions are to subtract 19 millimeters. And so our whole lineup is going to be at 28.5, and here's 28.5 right there. So now this mounting plate goes here, and the center of the screw hole is at 28.5, and there's no way these screw holes are going to crack this edge of the frame of the door. So that's why this is recommended for large overlay 5-piece doors. The distance of calculating the distance this way is the same. It's the overlay of the door plus the crank of the hinge and the thickness of the plate. Now I'm going to attach the door to the cabinet, and this is clumsy, I'll tell you that, because I got too far to reach here. There's one clipped. Now let's do the other one here. There. The door is attached. Good thing for me, I got soft close hinges. The next thing I got to do is select the correct lift mechanism in order to make this work. And I have 3 lift mechanisms to choose from. There's a 1101, a 1301, and a 1501. So my door is 12 inches high, and with the lock and the handle, I have a total of 12 pounds. So I have 12 times 12, I got 144. That's a power factor. So when I look at the publication, I see that 144, I can use either the 1501 lift mechanism to do it, one of them, or I can go to the 1301, but then I have to use 2. I cannot use the smaller one. So I can either use 2 of the mid-range lift mechanisms or 1 of the heaviest one, the 1501. I'm going to try to get by with a 1501. Let's see what happens. Now on the lift mechanism, they have a range option. You can see it right there. You need to use a cordless drill to adjust this range. It takes a screwdriver is just way too slow. So you would put it here into the mechanism and adjust the tension here to get exactly what you want. If it's too low, the door is going to slam. If it's too high, it won't close at all. One mechanism. This is an experiment. Here we go. Snap it on the post. There. And then attach this to the door. This arm here. That went pretty easy. There was no work there. If you want to take it off, you could do this clip and remove it. There's a little clip there. So there it's in. And it's holding it up, so it's strong enough. Now what about closing? Let's take a look at that. That's almost perfect. Look at that. Now I've got a lift mechanism on my horizontal cabinet, and I also have a wardrobe block here, a horizontal application of a wardrobe block. Works pretty nice. And there is the adjustment. Let's see what we're at, if I can see. We're at a 3.5 on that dial. You can go somewhere between a 1 and a 6. I think this is a pretty good application. We do not need 2 lift mechanisms in this case. One is doing the job. Now also I want to add that I could do a door twice this big. I could go clear down to here. I could go 24 inches high. And if I use 2 of these mechanisms, I'd be able to get the job done. Well, here it is. This is our wardrobe cabinet with the HK-XS lift mechanism, the heavier duty one. And then we did calculate our power factor by having the height of the cabinet plus the weight of the door in order to choose the correct lift mechanism. So, a pretty good unit. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.